What's up, YouTube? What's up, Twitch chat? Playing through a little more Grixis Shadow today. We had a trophy league last night off stream that we have uploaded the voice over to YouTube. So I'm dropping the YouTube link in Twitch chat in case you're wanting to watch that later. But today, trying to replicate the process. Some of the changes that I made for this particular iteration are pretty much just dropping the third ledger shredder for the fiery islet. Um, had a bunch of mana screwed games. Decided to go up to the 19th land, which I know a lot of people have already gone to the 19th land. So congrats for being ahead of the curve, or at least ahead of my curve on that. Um, but historically, like I've always wanted to keep my curve lower and without cards like Kaito or what's it called? Fable the Mirror Breaker, anything like that, then the 19th land's been a little meh. But ran it through last night, did pretty well. Sideboard, the only real changes, dropped the second Hearse for the second Engineered Explosives, dropped the second Turok for a K command, seeing more like hammer time, creativity, stuff like that. So, congrats on the 5-0s. You've been betting on YouTube. It's time to level up the thumbnails. Probably, like, if I actually went with making thumbnails for videos, it would probably be a lot more engaging, but kind of a one man show over here. And I don't really want to put a bunch of time and effort into making thumbnails. But it is what it is. Yeah, I have checked out a few of Bosch and Roll's videos. Um, I think one of the big advantages that content creators like Bosch and Roll have is the diversity of their content. So, for example, being able to make videos about so many different topics. When you're making videos about like exactly Death Shadow content, it's way less diverse and artistic. It's more just like, here's my one thing, what I got. But I think the thing that's really getting people's attention is just like short videos 10 minutes, 15 minutes, tops 30. Like, you'll even see players like Aspiring Spike doing videos nowadays that are cut down to like 30 minutes. Like, all the dead time is cut out. So he'll do a full league in 30 minutes, or full league in like a 30-minute YouTube video. All right. Have I checked God Shadow's videos? I don't think I have. Could play out like Channeler here, but I don't want my opponent to kill my Channeler, untap, and like dash Ragavan, or I didn't even see that they were playing Giganta, so they're not on Murktide. Yeah, I'll definitely check out God Shadow stuff. So Temur with a Ledger Shredder. Doesn't really tell me a whole lot. This is just Temur Murktide. But it wouldn't be Temur Murktide because you can't play Murktide with Giganta. Just like a Temur mid range or something. Can't play Counterspell. Hmm. I guess another spot removal spells. Fine. Because niche people go for it. Well, I'll definitely check out more of God Shadow stuff. Like I know I've seen some of their content here and there, but never in like a big amount. Let's just get a Steam Vents. I wonder what their payoff is. It's just gonna be like a Tarmogoyf deck. Double Heat, Bolt, Redder. Okay. Could just be like an Underworld Breach deck. Line up a little better. So whatever they considered, they kept on top. Okay. What can we find? Iteration. That's pretty good. Play that. So we are gonna have to give him a Ledger Shredder trigger, which is fine. We go like Bolt to hand, Channeler to exile, play the Channeler. They get the Ledger Shredder trigger. You're back kids at football practice. Nice. I guess like soccer. And I think I'm just gonna pass here. Like I think I would rather unholy heat this than bolt it. I can save my bolt to grow my shadow. Not really in a big rush. What you got? Okay. Okay. Feel pretty decent here. Let's go Blood Crypt. We will doesn't matter too much. Holy heat this. Shredder's good. Our turn. Am I offering up the trade with the Channeler? If I'm not offering up the trade, then I want to go ahead and Shredder plus Bolt. If I am offering up the trade, then I can attack and then Shredder plus Shadow. I think I want to Shredder plus Bolt. Mm. Attack him with Channeler. And is there any reason to not play the Shadow here? I don't think so. I really wonder if they're an Underworld Breach deck. That's about the only thing I can come up with. I mean, if they find an Underworld Breach, then that's pretty bad for us. But not a whole lot I can do about that. Like, what's the green splash for? Surely it's not like Veil of Summer out of the board. Damn it. Knew it. Knew it. Couldn't do anything about it, but just had that breach feeling. Like, if you're not playing Murktide, what's your payoff? Pretty good one. Bruh. Bruh. Alright. It's a pretty unfortunate series. So, heat 3, bobble, vulture. Ah, that was so bad for us. We get one bobble. I mean, we can always top deck our second breach and just win, but odds aren't great there. So like an expressive iteration would be good. Or, a Bloodstain Mire. Like top 5 choices. We've not seen a Drown in the Lock or a Spell Pierce, so could not have played around a breach. Yeah. I guess the only thing we could have done differently is we could have just held that shadow in hand instead of playing it out. That way, if they found a breach like they did, then we could ditch the shadow to grow the ledger shredder in the event that we draw something like iteration or underworld breach of our own. I guess I gotta update the. I guess that's pretty close to the same deck list I'm running. I think the sideboard's like card or two off. But actually, let's just go ahead and update it. I think the only differences are fourth channeler over the third shredder and second EE over the second unlicensed hearse. So, not a big change. But we'll update anyway. Alright, should be fixed now. It's got one card in hand. The Giganta. Now, if you could please not chain together iterations. All right. We've got a bunch of good draws. We've got iterations of our own, which we haven't seen any, or we've seen one. We've got Drown in the Locks. We've got another Underworld Breach. They've used Unholy Heats, a Bolt. Okay. Iteration. Iteration one time. Uno Mas iteration. Guess. Is it worth it to give them a Ledger Shredder trigger when I know one of their cards is the dead Giganta? I'm actually going to hold off. I say dead Giganta, like it's still a 5/5, but it's not the. I think I'd rather deal with a vanilla 5/5 than deal with like an iteration off the top or potentially drawing them to another Underworld Breach. All right. Giganta, unknown. With a Ledger Shredder Connive coming up. Our best draws would be like Lightning Bolt, Thoughtseize, Fetchland. Why? Why are you discarding an expressive iteration? They had to keep like an underworld breach, right? Yeah. There's just no way you discard an expressive iteration. Yeah. Oh man. I feel like we were in such good shape that game. So what do we do differently? I think the only thing is like not playing out that shadow into the underworld or potential underworld breach, which I know is pretty narrow because like we don't know that they're on underworld breach, but we can probably make the assumption. And if we make that assumption, I think we're uh, in a better spot. So hit or miss. See, we are on the play. A couple channelers. Like, are we just supposed to assume anybody that's running Gigantha and running red is playing Underworld Breach? Is that the point we've gotten to in modern? Which honestly, that's probably like a fine assumption, right? If you got Gigantha, you're not playing Murktide, playing in a bunch of one mana stuff. Underworld Breach is pretty free. No, this is hinging too much on having to hit the second land. That's about right. We'll manage. Maybe. Like, honestly, they don't have that many ways of getting a good size shadow off the board. So perhaps I need to consider just like aggressively bolting myself if I can get a shadow like outside of bolt range. But at the same time, like if they play a ledger shredder, I probably want to kill it. Okay. Why are you playing Shaper's Sanctuary in your Underworld Breach deck? Like a quintessential I play a bunch of creatures card. mother calling. Seek our way to a trophy, more like shark our way. More like if we play against a whole bunch of Underworld Breach decks, we're kind of in trouble. Forgot the Shark Typhoons again. I'm like 0-7 on remembering Shark Typhoon. See what you do. Are you willing to fight over me bolting myself? Nope. You got a Ragavan. Your opponent's playing a Pioneer card in Modern. That's illegal. I mean, not wrong. So if I go down to 7 or go down to 6, make Shadow 7/7, hit them down to 11, they hit me. Could potentially just draw like a fetch land for lethal. All right, YOLO. Carry on, OP. You think I'm targeting this Ragavan with anything? Get out of here. Oh boy. Oh boy. Hold. Hold, brothers, hold. Storm count 1. Spell Pierce. Are we paying the 2? We're currently looking at lethal. Paying the 2. Flusterstorm. Spell Pierce. Yes. My stack. Oh, man. My stack opponent, you stay away from it. Okay, so now we have to know about Shaper Sanctuary. So good call on boarding out the Thought Seizes. I kind of want the Channelers back in. Like one Channeler over K Command for sure. But just bringing in a Channeler over a Pierce. Sure. Keep our threat count up. Like, surely Shaper Sanctuary isn't good enough if you're only playing like 4 Ragavan, 4 Channeler, 4 Shredder. Maybe I'm wrong. this just Steam Vents pass? Actually, I'm gonna go Steam Vents Bobble Pass. I know this loses like some value with Channeler and Ledger Shredder, but I kind of just want more available cards. And I'm gonna bobble on my instep in case there's a lightning bolt or unholy heat or something on top. Okay. Stomping ground, no covered island. We can fetch, play Ragavan, fetch, play Darcy, straight up play Ledger Shredder, but I think I kind of want to like play a 1-drop and hold up Pierce. Let's go for need more blue. Get our scry on. Surveil. I don't know why I've like called this scry every single time I see the card. Like, oh, it's clearly scrying. Why would it be surveilling? That's weird. Gives me delirium. Ew. Ew. Some opponents just want to watch the world burn. They've got to remember that they've got an Underworld Breach in hand. Means I'm probably like holding on to Drown for that. Maybe not. Play Channeler. Ragavan, say go. Am I willing to trade Shredder or Channeler for Goy? If I double block and they like kill Shredder, then they can just breach, bolt, kill Channeler. Probably fine, honestly. Boom, boom, boom. Ragavan bites the dust. Another one gone. Another one gone. Ragavan bites the dust. The Unholy Heat 2. That your last non-Underworld Breach card in hand. Okay. Land. Land. That is reasonable, actually. Kill you. That's live next turn. Back in the air. There you go. They fetch, we're winning the race. If their hand is like non-counter spell, Underworld Breach, we're okay. Kill my Shredder. Sure. They pass the turn. We can drown to kill the Goyf into turn. Looks like they're just going for Breach. Yes, does grow Tarmogoyf. Well, I guess this other drown's getting popped pretty quick. Relic me. Relic in your Tarmogoyf deck is a big ask. I get it, but doesn't mean I have to agree with it. Tarmogoyf Underworld Breach deck. Like, why would you not just play like Soul Guide Lantern or something like that at that point? Like a Shadow. That's a good follow-up threat if they Relic here. Got it. Here's a Shadow. We're just not going to cast the iteration yet. Eventually, maybe this Shadow resolves. Not mystical, dispute it. Put up Gigantha. Alright, Gigantha unknown. Gigantha known. Keep that. I can cast that on their upkeep. Get rid of Shredder. Alternatively, I could cast it now. Like I could put Underworld Breach in hand, cast the bolt now, kill the Ragavan. They can discard either the Gigantha or whatever's left in their hand. No. I'm going to do like this, and I'm going to attack with everything. Because if they don't block like Shadow and a Channeler, maybe they don't want to trade Channeler for a Ragavan. If they don't block Shadow and Channeler, I get to kill them with Bolt. All right. And then we pass the turn now. I guess we can wait on the lightning bolt now. Yep. Don't think I want to trade. If I attack, block with Gigantha, and bolt myself. Pass here. Now I've got like Bolt the Ledger Shredder. Who are you? In case they had a second spell there. Got anything? Ooh, hard fought one. What did we learn from that matchup? Underworld Breach is a crazy magic card, and I immediately regret taking out the second unlicensed hearse. If Underworld Breach is going to be popular, probably just have to run both of them. Like, Hearse is really, really good against opposing Murktide decks. It's not great against like any other grave based deck. It's good in like the fair mid rangey graveyard matchups. It's not good against the unfair graveyard matchups. But Underworld Breach, I guess, can kind of fit into either category. Like the ultimate unfair fair card, right? All right. On the play, got a Ragavan. Lead with that. Thoughtseize can take out a blocker. If they don't do anything about Ragavan, then I get to make my blue mana for iteration next turn. Opponent is mulliganing pretty aggressively. But like, I don't want to just say automatically that I'm gonna Ragavan. I'm gonna bobble them first. If I see something like, I don't know, something insane, I might want to Thoughtseize instead. Not a long list of cards that would make me Thoughtseize, but enough of them. Nurturing Peatland. Peatland makes me want a Ragavan. Because this way, if my opponent's got like 2 hand disruption spells, they can't deal with like Ragavan and iteration and me thought seizing or something. So there's a reasonable chance I'll get to do something here. Haywire Might. Saw Peatland on top, so I think we're just terminating. Terminate the Might, attack, thought seize them. Now that I've got the extra mana source, fingerback. So Hardened Scales. And we're going to play this Hangerback on 0. I don't think they have any ways to recur anything in their deck, but playing it out on 0 makes Drown in the Lock better. Darkbound Worker. See if we can find like a kill spell for the worker. Cannot. Let's go Shadow to hand. Shadow. They go. Is there a world where I want to trade this Ragavan for the worker? Maybe I do. Like I'm attacking next turn, so what's the difference between attacking now and attacking next turn, right? Except if they don't block, I miss out on 2 points of damage. Well, I guess realistically, if I was attacking, I should have attacked first. Well, here we are. One of those moments that I'm gonna look back on later and be like, oh yeah, if I knew I was gonna attack, should have attacked before I played the expressive iteration. Duh. Guilds of Baz. Well, them getting no constructs off that first saga is really, really nice. So let's go Channeler, attack. What am I doing for damage here? Bet shock to 7, add Gigantha. Seems fine. Gigantha, say go. Now they can make it 3-3. They go to 9, make it 3-3. Do I want to drown something end of turn? No. Lightning bolt. Go drawing into what? Moth. Ink moth is fine. I Yep. This is acceptable. Don't have enough mana to Gigantha plus drown plus bolt. Not really a reason to do that. They go to Saga trigger. And if they make a construct, they're not. You can't float mana and then make a construct, right? So I'm pretty free to just bolt this. Can't like untap it and be like, oh, I gotcha. It's good. Now, hopefully, between Drown and Lock and Heat, we can kill anything that actually matters here. Stirrings is fine. Counter an Arcbound Ravager. So if they resolve the Arcbound Ravager, they'd put the counter on it for modular, and that would trigger the animation module, and they could make a 1-1 with their floating mana up here. So counter that. So even if they play something afterwards, they don't have the mana to activate animation module, and Unholy Heat would be able to clear up whatever's left. So Dress Down, really good against a bunch of modular guys. Alpine Moon stops Ink Moth, Urza's Saga. EE sweeps up tokens from like Hangerback Walker, Saga, anything like that. A Command blows up artifacts pretty well. Terminate's about the only other card that I could consider. But for the most part, like, Terminate's pretty meh. Like, maybe if I'm boarding out all of my Thought Seizes or Thought Seize and Pierce, then Terminate's just like better than that. So, yeah, I'll say Terminate's better than Thought Seize. Treat it kind of like OG Affinity. A lot of lands. I think I can do better. Just drop the iteration, drop the flow card. I think at least one of these Pierces should be a Spell Snare. Personally, I hate Spell Snare. I think that Pierce hits like everything that Spell Snare wants to hit. The exceptions being stuff that you already have covered with like all of your removal spells really well. But then Spell Snare misses like Sigardazade, Teferi, Blood Moon, Creativity, Unholy Heat, Cascade Target, Leyline Binding, like so much good stuff. The old Hardened Scales. Hardened Scales and an Ozolith. What do I think about Bolt Myself Double Shadow? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2 shadows. They have a walking ballista. They could kill one. Probably best to just hold on. Like, I think Sanctifier on Vec is the only card that would make me even consider Spell Snare. And I don't think that card is like popular enough to make me want to go that route. Brown in the lock. We're playing out both shadows, or we're just playing out one shadow. Counter on it? Oh. Play out two shadows. We ain't no punk. Get to make it 2/2 here. That's fun. Make another dude. Maybe. All right. So this dude will catch a lightning bolt, or they can tutor up anything to potentially save it. Relic of Progenitus. Got it. Dismember a shadow. Well, technically does it. Honestly, didn't even know they played like Dismember. We've got 4 card types in the yard. They can't activate Relic right now, so let's go ahead and Unholy Heat the Construct. Or it gets shut down. Something good? Pretty whatever. Opponent, you don't have to do that. I guess I should have killed that just so they wouldn't have as many counters to put on it. But oh well. Got it. All right. Inkmoth Nexus. Well, we do have an issue with just dying to a whole bunch of Urza's sagas. Gonna go ahead and like mow down my board. Oh, I guess I'm dead to this. Never mind. Never mind. 5 counters. I get to add 1 more because of Hardened scales. All right, back on the play. Thoughtseize looks a little bit better on the play. We did have like dress downs, EE, K command, like a bunch of really good cards we could have hit and just didn't see them. Poured out a couple race cards. I think I want a Ragavan back. I should have actually probably boarded out a Channeler. Since we saw Relic of Progenitus. That would have been a fair play to make. Found worker welding jar. This has been a matchup that has like haunted me for forever. Like I absolutely cannot stand this matchup. I think I'm more interested in finding like real threats. Let's get an actual clock going. Nice. Don't you love it when a plan comes together? Bruh. We need to have a talk about all these dismembers. Never mind. So, are we just going K command, shoot the animation module? Yeah. We can make them ditch their last card. Hmm. Let's think about this one. I could shoot the animation module, make them discard. I could shoot the module, get back Shadow. I could shoot to them, get back Shadow. I think I want to shoot animation module, get back Shadow. Like I'm pretty happy if they waste welding jar on the animation module because I can get back Shadow and potentially have lethal next turn. Dogfish, what's up? Sorry I dipped after I lost the last trophy round. I wasn't tilted. I've got two sick kids and had to bounce. All good. All good. All good in the hood. All right. 5/5 shadow. Potential of growing to a 6/6 shadow. Currently. Got clapped too hard to even get till that was That was an absolutely insane amulet turn. For anybody, say anybody that hadn't seen it, but I haven't shown it to anybody. Let's see if I've got this. Where did I put it? Where did I put it? Desktop. No, I saved the screenshot of it. Where did I save the screenshot of it? I'm gonna have to find it, but oh, I absolutely saved it. Dogfish's Amulet Titan opponent just went on like an absolute tear and ended up turn 2 playing like second Amulet, Arboreal Grazer, float 4, second Arboreal Grazer, pick back up the bounce land, Cultivator Colossus, made like 10 mana, played a Titan, uh, or no, played a Tireless Tracker, and then played a Titan, or it might have been like Tireless Tracker, Dryad, Titan. We were able to kill the Dryad, and they had enough mana left over to Teleria West for a second Dryad on turn 2. All right, so let's go. Am I going Channeler EE on 0? Am I attacking first? I guess I'd play out Fiery Islet and attack first. Zabaz. On the construct, you got it. We play Channeler. EE on 0. Get our Knive or Surveil Trigger. I'm going to get this right one of these days. Put that on top. Pass the turn. So now we can sack Fiery Islet and draw into the dress down if we need it. So that's pretty sweet. And if opponent doesn't do anything relevant here, we can go end of turn, sack the EE. They have to Welding Jar like the construct. It taps it with the regeneration. Go to our turn, draw the dress down, attack. They put in a token to try to block, and we dress down to kill the token. So EE, King 1. If I dress down, it doesn't kill the construct. The construct survives as a 1/1 because it's got a 1/1 counter on it. But otherwise, everything's the same. Like, it's the same result. It's just different sequencing. I just have to blow up EE to tap this one down. And then this one, I don't care about. I just have to dress down before this Llanowar Reborn trigger. But if it didn't have the counter, yeah, you'd be right. Like, I could just dress down into turn. But now they die to a shadow. All right. 2-0. Bit of a funky start to the league. Am I just running back the trophy list? No, I cut the third shredder for the fourth channeler, and in the sideboard, I cut the second unlicensed hearse for a second engineered explosives. Which it's kind of funny that that's all come up so far. Match one, we played against a Temur Underworld Breach deck, and would have loved unlicensed hearse. And then match two, we played against EE, where or played against Hardened Scales, where EE shines. DRC is just too good in the Breach plan. It is really good. It's not as good if you're not like aggressively going into Breach, like 3 or 4 copies of Breach every 1 mana spell you can possibly get. Uh, but it is solid. My thought with the league last night was, hey, if I'm going up to 19 lands, then I can more consistently like play my 2 drops and double spell later. So Ledger Shredder looks a little more interesting. Bit of an awkward hand on the draw, but it's a functional hand, so I feel like I kind of have to keep it. The fish. The fish. The fish. The fish. The fish are on fire. We don't need no water. Let the mother. Chandler versus Thoughtseize. Chandler versus Thoughtseize. I don't want to Thoughtseize, but at the same time, Chandler's. Don't want to get an island. Get a swamp. Swamp doesn't help iteration, so. Oh, let's just play Chandler. Haven't seen a breach turn yet. Haven't needed one. Like, that's what we're trying to figure out, right? If breach is even necessary. Oh. Little Spyolin. Subtlety, Silvergill, Mistcaller. Subtlety, Silvergill, Mistcaller. What does Mistcaller do? Second until the turn, if a non-token creature would enter the battlefield and it wasn't cast, exile it instead. That's some creativity hate tech right there. Got it. Mistcaller. All right. You gonna let me trade with like a Silvergill or something? Ooh, baby. They had to have drawn a Lord. Yep. Yeah. Like, I just can't afford to take that. So I need to draw a shadow here. But I guess they have subtlety if I do draw a shadow. So. Damned if we do, damned if we don't. Getting feast. Alright. Island. Iteration. We are dead on board, right? 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep. The fish. The fish. Let's bring in some stuff that kill fish. Everything else is pretty mopey. Get rid of Pierces. Get rid of a couple of these slower cards. Thoughtseize. And go pray. What do we got? Something good. Turn 1 Ragavan. All right. This is a maybe has game against fish kind of hand. Team Vents. Ragavan. Bobble. Go. Ha. Ha. You would have liked that in play turn 1. Who's ready for our opponent to violin a Memnite? Who's the Aether Vial deck now? Alright, I don't think I need double burn spell up this turn. Violin Dryad Arbor. I'm sure there's like a much larger number of people that have tried to make that happen than we care to admit. Especially when it comes to like Violin my Asmo on turn 1. Well, I guess. Got a Curse Catcher. I would love to use Aether Vial's ability. Let's play Channeler so that if we go to kill something, we get a Ragavan or a Channeler trigger. Like, I have turn 1 Ragavan on the play. I can cast everything off the top of your deck. Let me hit a live card to cast, please. Why don't we volunteer DRC? Because I didn't think about it. I'm not used to having this option. Guess that's something. Maybe we're supposed to tick up to 5 for Gigantha. Harbinger, bounce. Let's go ahead and bolt. Keep another bolt. I guess we could have like viled in the second Ragavan there, killed our one that they were bouncing, put creature in the yard for Channeler. But that seems very like I don't know, not using our cards very efficiently. Love to use Aether Vial's ability. I'd love to not use Aether Vial's ability now. Like, we've got so many live hits off the top of their library. Let me get some. Now, I know they have subtlety. Do I want to give them a glass pool mimic on top of their library? I'm gonna say no. As much as I hate that. Go ahead and kill this. I am in fact alive. Last I checked, at least. I can do without a dress down. How do I know I'm alive? I feel a pulse. I feel a pulse. To start. It's not a perfect measure, don't get me wrong, but all right. But like for real, at what point do I start taking up this vial to 5? Ooh. Ooh. Like that one. Subtlety number 2. Yeah. Get out of here. Remember my channeler. Deal. And they've got the spy. Oh boy. All right, that's pretty solid. Let's go bolt to hand, channeler to exile, play the channeler, bolt the spy to kill it off. Yes, please. All right, Freed. You're asking about Underworld Breach turns. Don't say I never delivered. Yes. I so let's go attack with both, because if they don't block Ragavan, they die. Do block Ragavan, so let's go Breach. What am I doing off Breach? It's like a whole mess of Mishra's baubles and bolt them once. Like, am I sure I don't want to bolt them? I'm casting Channeler if I'm casting a threat. If that's the case, I want to Channeler first. I don't have enough. Oh, I could have hit them with Ragavan. You're right. You're right. I wasn't counting just the treasure off Ragavan. I was like, oh, I'm short on red. I can't bolt multiple things. Good call. All right. Looks like it's not going to matter. Sorcery, instant, instance, fine. But yeah, Salty, you had the line with lethal there. They were saying if we breach before combat, cast a bolt off our extra red to kill their lord, attack through for 5, put them down to 3, and then Ragavan makes a treasure token, and we use that red to cast bolt again and kill them. I just wasn't thinking about the treasure that Ragavan was going to make. Hey, missing lethal is like an MO of my Magic career. Like, if I don't miss lethal, am I even trying? Kind of want another thought season, but I know it's better on the play than the draw anyway. Ragioli, ragioli, take me to the promised land only. Did work out in the end. Like, I figure if we're resolving a breach, we can find some way to get lethal, right? Like, we're resolving a breach. They've got uh, an island on top or whatever, an Aether Vial on top. Like, we'll find something here. Okay. Let's see if we can get this Ragavan through. Nope. How many dismembers does Merfolk usually run? Like some actual insane amount, or is it just like 2 and they just keep having them? 2. First list on Goldfish is 3. I don't know, like how or the first list on Goldfish is 2. Sorry, I don't know how standard that is, or the second list has 4. This list has 4, so I guess 4 is pretty common. Or at least like not crazy rare. Okay. Let's go dash ravioli. Or not uncommon at all. Makes sense. Silvergill. If I go to Lightning Bolt the Silvergill, am I okay or not if they animate the Mutavault and block? Yep. Am I playing that as just like a free redraw at some point? Really bad in the face of everything I've got going on, so I guess not. Gold's Violin. Alright, so we're gonna have to EE on one, blow up the Aether Vial. That'll add third card to their yard so we can drown this Violin. Oh yeah, because Aether Vial hadn't gone to the yard yet. Ah, forgot about that. Forgot about the indestructible. Punt. Punt. Mega super terrible punt. I don't think we were anywhere near winning this anyway, but yeah. Get a shadow, can't block nearly enough. Yeah, I don't. So let's see. They had a mana open on their turn, or did they have a mana open on my end step? Because if they didn't have a mana, or if they did have a mana open, it didn't matter. What happened to the EE? I blew it up to take out Aether Vial to put the third card in their yard to try to drown in the Lox Vial, and and they had a 2-drop to flash in. I was hoping that they would go end of my turn, activate Vial, and I could respond by EE blowing up the Vial and then killing the this Violin. But they didn't activate Vial, so it went to their turn. So I had to activate Vial on their upkeep, so they couldn't like get a draw step to find another Merfolk. And they had something to Vial in, so I think it was like a punt that didn't matter. A punt because I had completely forgot about Violin getting indestructible. Didn't matter because like they had the pieces regardless. I had to make the first action. So whatever we're calling that, like a half a punt. But yet again, I think we were like super, super far from having a chance that game anyway. Dismember just kind of wrecked our world. Let's say no to this one. Just call it a pint, then you drink and stream. Now we're talking. You have to eat fish sticks for dinner. I don't make the rules. What about like a McDonald's filet o fish? Let's get rid of breach. Filet of fish an option. I don't really want to eat one of those either, but I think filet of fish is probably better than fish sticks. Man, I didn't even think about it. It has been a while since we've had Freed and Bench in the same stream. For my ravioli. Dangerous to go to my turn, but I guess that's your name. But checks out. I don't think I would be going to your opponent's turn with Ragavan too much in Modern right now. Dead and gone. Okay. What I thought was Murktide appears to be Murktide no more. What on earth kind of hand is this? Double Force of Negation, double Brazen Borrower, Fury. Huh. You know what? If they draw an answer to Shadow, they draw an answer to Shadow. I'm high rolling here. Like, I know they've got a petty theft for it, but I don't really care about a petty theft. Bench has been sucked into another game. What game you been sucked into? What are you playing a bunch of now? In what world does this expressive iteration resolve? Still Lost Ark? Fair enough. Fair enough. So, Thoughtseize. More likely to Thoughtseize or Ragavan here. Kind of feel like I'm more likely to Ragavan. Yeah, let's go Thoughtseize to hand, Ragavan to exile. They petty theft my shadow. I'm pretty okay just casting Ragavan. Sure. Here we go. Here I go again on my own. I'm going down the only road I've ever known. Like that shadow, I was born to walk alone. Made up my mind. Ragavan's attacking one more time. What do we got? Force of Negation. That's a pretty funny one. So let's go land first. Thought sees you. See if I can take something cool and exciting. They hard cast a Force of Negation. I'll hard cast a Force back. They are going to exile a Force to a Force to force my Force. Fury Unknown. Do I want to force the Fury? Or force the Thoughtseize? Force the Force. 0 for 3. I force the Force. Shadow. I think I'm just going to let this go. See, I should try streaming since I have an actual PC now and not a laptop. Finally got a second monitor set up, picked up a Blue Yeti mic. The Blue Yeti mics are super, super nice. Like, that's what I've got and absolutely love it. Picked up like this mic stand for $15 off Amazon. And let's see if I can adjust a little bit. Yeah. Pop filter, can move mic around all over the place. Brazen Barber. Go ahead and kill that. Title my stream The Last Shadow Streamer. Please do. Please do. Put me out of a job. What are the odds? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ah, so good. So good. Faith's shield has apparently been fixed. I did not know it had been fixed until like 2 days ago, but apparently it has been. I appreciate them going to do this after blocks. All Ferox said it was fixed, but I'm not playing to know for sure. Right? Like, I'll check it out eventually, but I'm not just dying to throw Faith Shield into a deck. Honestly, I'm always shocked with the number of people that whenever you suggest like Jund Shadow or something, or even Grixis, they're like, what about splashing white for Faith Shield? Like, that's the reason people want to go white. And I always found that kind of odd. Sometimes I get weird dreams of Varal's calling me. I really thought for a second that said sometimes I get wet dreams of Varal's calling me. Like, I mean, you do you, bitch. Really excited over those Varals. Right. You have something. You have another violent outburst. Those have been your draws here. Ice down my shadow. Sure. We did miss adding Gigantha to hand last turn. I think I would have had to use treasure tokens, so it's kind of fine, but still should have. So we've got 4 lightning bolts. We've got underworld breaches. Got a ledger shredder that we can connive off a Gigantha. Keep winning the first RCQs of the season so then I can play on the weekend unless it's MTGO. Boo hoo. Woe is you. I keep winning the first RCQs. Kind of walked into that one. I mean, I feel like that's a reasonable problem to have. Are you doing DreamHack Dallas in June or whenever it is? I think I'm going to make it out to that one. Rid of a breach for fear of endurance skill problems. Like our local shop only does like Pioneer RCQs, and every time I play in one, I'll top 8 because it's like a small town PPTQ whatever. But I don't play Pioneer enough, like online or anything else, weekly Pioneers or whatever. So I have no idea what 95% of the decks out there do. And I'll just kind of like show up with some young pyromancer deck or something and like breeze through the Swiss, but then get to top 8 and like actually run into someone that knows what they're doing. And I'm like, oh yeah, I can't beat you in a million years. RCQs are 95% Pioneer around here, which is why I even own a Pioneer deck. Yeah, that That pretty well sums up here too. Which I don't really understand because like modern has been our store's bread and butter for years now. Like modern had the best turnouts, modern had kind of everything going for it, and I really don't know why they were just like, yeah, we're going to start doing Pioneer everything. Like even now they've been doing majority Pioneer for a few months now, and from what I hear, like modern still gets better turnouts than Pioneer. Like money, I guess, probably. Like it's a lot easier to give players the options of winning like Pioneer packs than it is giving them a chance to win like store credit or cash or anything like that. Oh, I want a channeler plus Thoughtseize. Losing like a lot of life to do that. I guess going down to 10's not the worst in the world. Get a chance to like draw some live stuff. Show me the dead and gone. They should be waiting until after I surveil, but I can't get delirium off this one thing. Now you dead and gone it. Yep. These resolves, takes Brazen Borrower. Okay. Yeah, I know a lot of like the store owners and stuff really want to push Pioneer kind of across the country because it gets rid of old packs and stuff that's sitting around. So kind of hard to blame them. All right. Calm down on the dead and gones, please. Just a little bit. They don't have delirium either. Be bad. Got a breeding pool in hand, drawing an unknown. Show me something dead, please. Hidden from the sun, what's up? Hope you're having an awesome, what's today? Wednesday? Wednesday? I am doing fantastic. We'll go down to 4. No fear. They like petty theft my shadow or gone it or something, then I get Shredder plus Shadow and get to connive. So that's fine. Only hits creatures, right? Yeah. Logged in from work. Night shift today. Nice. Well, all I'm gonna say is don't blame me if you get like in trouble or anything. I did not condone you being on Twitch instead of working. I played no part in it. On my shadow. Okay. I can choose VPN. I guess that's fair. That is a solution to the problem at hand. All right. Something good. Something that can possibly give me delirium. Nope. Cool. Here's a shadow. Here's a Gigantha. Do I have to Unholy Heat now and try to hit Delirium? I feel kind of like I'm supposed to. What is this Unholy Heat doing for me if I don't hit Delirium? Like, best case for Unholy Heat if I don't hit Delirium would be like they hard cast a Brazen Borrower here. But if they have a Brazen Borrower, they can just Petty Theft my Shadow and attack for lethal anyway. So yeah. I mean, if it's like Violent Outburst or something, I can't do anything about it anyway. Ooh. Ooh. Lucky. Take it. Shardless. Petty Theft. Okay. Something good, please. I'm gonna need a removal spell for a Rhino, is what you're telling me. Or removal spell for a Brazen Borrower. Or just something to get in front of the Brazen Borrower is fine. We'll take an Underworld Breach. Oh no, they just have. Oh man. Hell of a string there. I feel like my volume input slightly down. Well, I probably was like mumbling a little bit. I tend to do that when I'm like trying to think. But I could also just like turn up the gain on the microphone a little bit. Or not the gain, the threshold. Pretty underwhelming hand. I can do better. What I get for having expectations. Actually, let's get rid of a heat for Blood Moon purposes. No, we're on a mulligan. Can't afford to play around Blood Moon. Can't have like basic swamp if I need to expressive iteration looking for a fluster storm or a spell pierce. All right, OP mold to 5. Ironically, probably would have made our best hand or first hand better, but here we are. All right, spell pierce is good. At least have stuff we can do now. I might have to wait until turn 4 for this pierce. Never mind. We fighting. We scrapping out here. Go away. All right. Yeah, we all got to believe. Believe in the heart of the cards. A fire and ice. Sure. Okay. Let's go. And bottom exile. Plays around Blood Moon on their turn. Can't do much about that one. E. All right, so that puts land in the yard for Delirium. Let's go Womp. I should have gotten a red source. Whoops. Whoops. Like, if I've got Ragavan, I don't really need to play around Blood Moon. But I could there, so I should have. All right. You got it. As you can clearly see, we played around that. Sure. Got him. Got him. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, get out of here with your Blood Moon. Uh, Mana base kind of forced you to play DRC last, even though it would have been best. So, if I wanted to play around Blood Moon, which them getting basic island, basic forest, like pretty well signals they've got access to a Blood Moon, which I know is probably in their deck. But if they're fetching that aggressively, they probably have it in their hand, especially when I'm not presenting like a big clock. So getting basic swamp helps play around Blood Moon, but doesn't really help cast DRC first into multiple removal spells. So you kind of have to take the good with the bad. A little bit of a fortunate way that one turned out. Got to play around the Blood Moon. Top deck the Thought Seas right in front of the Fury. Like, I'd probably say in a I don't know, in probably a pretty high percentage of matches, it's absolutely fine there to like fetch and shock a red source so we could channeler plus double removal spell and then hit with Ragavan. Because, like, realistically, once the Ragavan hits, you don't care that much about Blood Moon, especially if they don't have an answer to the Ragavan right away. Um, Upper Line, Gorge, Swift Spear. Is this some sort of like red green prowess? Usually, when I see Copperline Gorge, my first thought is like Kragenwick Cremator combo, which I don't believe has Monastery Swift Spears, but all right, so just straight burn of some sort. Is red green burn instead of red white burn? I'll go to 10 to get a basic island. That way, maybe if they don't do anything crazy, I can like iteration into Shadow or something if I find one. Maybe this is like an Atarka burn or something. Rift Bolt, Boros Charm me. Yep. Probably pretty dead. Doesn't say. Ooh. Huh. Let's say if it doesn't say drown in the lock, I don't want it. All right, so we are DOB, as the kids would say, unless we manage to rip a drown in the lock off the top. Then we're probably still DOB, but go ahead and crack that Sunbait Canyon. Why are you letting me go to my draw step? You have a lightning bolt. Like, if you're not casting it on your turn, be casting it on my upkeep. Oh, I could breach. Really do a ton for me. Crack the Sunbait Canyon. I feel like this is kind of asking to get got by like double counter spell. And I'm sure they're trying to overload counter spell, but I don't know. I feel like they're giving up some points here. They didn't shuffle away the lightning bolt, did they? I just like wasn't paying attention. Probably just like not show them Shadow, but there you go. All right, you got there. So burn, like red green burn. So I guess red green burn. I'm less concerned about like Sanctifier. We saw Sunbait Canyon, but I don't think Sunbait Canyon is enough to make me think like they have heavy enough white. Or I should say like Sunbait Canyon out of a Copperline Gorge Stomping Ground start. I don't think is enough to make me think they have heavy enough white for Sanctifier. We'll get Mike some water. That was really hot. Feeling the burn in here. All right. Why not? It's a little awkward against burn, but we'll live. Goblin Guide. Thank you. All right. Get all of our mana pain out of the way. So I want to just throw away a Drown and Lock to get this up to a 2-4. No. Just throw away Spell Pierce. No, we'll throw away a Drown. They haven't played anything yet, so. Copperline Gorge. No more Copperline Gorge. Good draw. So reasonable draw. So let's say go. See what happens. Rift Bolt is targeting my face. Sure. What's next? Attacking with both. Let's put a Ledger Shredder on a Swift Spear. Is this the Atarka's command? Is this the one we've been waiting for? Oh. Oh. Okay. I think we're just going to ditch Iteration. Like a ways off of that doing much. 3 damage, pump the team. So Prowess trigger resolves. Let the Atarka's command resolve. Bolt the Goblin Guide. Stand in front of the Swift Spear. Now we fetch up a tapped Watergrave's fine. All right. We should be kind of coasting from here. I am double spelling this turn, so let's go ahead and do that before combat. Away an extra channeler. Do our best impression of the Jaden Smith Karate Kid say hiya. Go. Three cards in their yard, feeling okay. Jaden Smith, no Daniel Russo. That's fair. All right, so we cannot present lethal without fetching and shocking. Are we okay with that? 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But we don't really need to fetch and shock with them having double Sunbaked Canyon, right? Because locking them out of burn spells is like just as good. Let's go round first. Channeler. It's the one that can't get a basic. Four, 7, 10. And I think I could just make it 11. And that should be fine. So, like, I'm not dead to triple bolt because I've got spell pierce. They get one activation between these two lands. And that's what we use it on. Four, 8, 11, 12 with the eyelet. Do I care if they have Path to Exile? No. Bolt on there, sure. Now they would have to have what? Can't think of anything if you can't tap 2 of your 3 lands. Going out on their own terms. Appreciate it. Game 3 against Burn for the 4-1. I do think it's funny because I just read an article. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, this Michael Flores article on cool stuff about Burn. And one of my favorite lines is in here. Where is it? Somewhere. Where on earth? There's a whole line in here about like um, deflecting palm being really bad, and they give the example of like against hammer time, and also mention being bad against death shadow because like after you see deflecting palm one time out of a burn player, you're like basically never playing into it again. Like when we EE or dress in case they try to cheese you with Sanctifier. So if they were base red white, I would. But they've shown base red green with like Atarka's command and stuff. So the only white source that we've seen have been Sunbaked Canyon. But we've seen Copperline Gorge. So I'm like pretty inclined to think they don't have Sanctifier. If they do and I'm wrong, I eat my words. But nothing that I've seen so far has led me to believe that they have Sanctifier in their deck. Words don't taste good. It might not. They could be okay. I don't know. I don't eat them that often. Go ahead and get you off the board. And I kind of want to be able to get a basic swamp with this Bloodstained Mire. So the next turn I can like play out Channeler, hold up Drown off basic swamp. Channeler. Like if my opponent goes from 2 lands, missing third land drop to casting a Sanctifier any game or any turn this game, I'm going to be extraordinarily impressed. I think I'm just going to go ahead and counter this, keep my life total at least like a little reasonable. Bolt's fine. Another spot removal spell for a dude. Oh, halfway there. I'm about to get sanctified. Boros charm me. All right. Hmm. Really, really, really need to get Delirium online. Lava Spike me. Okay. Upkeep. Bolt you. Bobble does not give Delirium by itself. Neither does Unholy Heat. So we could. Come on, Delirium. Come on, Delirium. No. The whiffs. All right, that's a brick. there any difference between 15 and or 14 and 13? Not really. This is fade like 4 draw steps. If we had a delirium, it would be fade 1 draw step. Of course, there it is. If their last card's like deflecting palm, maybe just a hard cast like skewer. Exquisite Firecraft. My God, you went deep in the barrel on that one, OP. Oh man, exquisite Firecraft. Like they are they are living in a year I can't even begin to imagine. Ooh. Atarka's command, exquisite Firecraft. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm riding the burn high after just reading this like Michael Flores article. It's funny because like I said, I literally just read this right before I streamed, and some of the points in here that are so monumental are about things like what's it called, the skull crack being bad because it's 2 mana. You don't get to choose if you're going face or to them. Like you have to do one thing. It says Boros charm is bad. Um, like deflecting palm, all that, and to run into Atarka's command, that was unexpected. Like I feel like Atarka's command is just bad uh, skull crack, but man, I guess if you just flood the board with dudes, I guess what I'm trying to say is I can't imagine Atarka's command being better than Sanctifier or like anything. Well, they were running deflecting palm, weren't they? All right, now I'm even more confused. We saw deflecting palm, Boros charm. I never saw a Sacred Foundry or an Inspiring Vantage. I only saw Sunbaked Canyon as white sources. And I saw Copperline Gorge. Like what am I missing here? All right, regardless. I don't think we really had any games that league where we got mana screwed, which was a big plus. Our losses were to Burn and Merfolk, both Merfolk historically bad for Shadow, regardless of what variation you're playing. Burn a lot better for like Gurmag Angler, Thought Scour, Stubborn Denial Shadow. Historically pretty bad for Ragavan, DRC, Ledger Shredder Shadow. So in terms of percent losses, those are both matchups that we should lose more often than we win. Sideboard, Turok. Turok's looking like worse and worse every time I play him because I just never bring the card in, it feels like. And if we see a whole bunch of these Underworld Breach decks, then I probably want access to another Hearse. So I'd probably, I don't want to cut Turok, but maybe like cut the K command, add the other Hearse back. Main deck. Not really a ton I want to change. Wouldn't mind finding room for the third shredder, but I really don't want to drop like Pierce or something.